Hello and welcome to Royale Without Cheese, our bi-weekly podcast in which we discuss both the classic and the unknown of Hollywood and foreign cinema from the then and now. We are your hosts, me, Tomás Ferreira, Miguel Aido.
Hello there, it's getting chilly.
It is. And Leonardo Miranda.
Brrr, so cold.
Brrr. Turn up the thermostat. Chilly Scenes of Winter is a 1979 American romantic comedy film written and directed by Joan Micklin Silver and starring John Hurt and Mary Beth Hurt. Based on the 1976 novel of the same name by Anne Betty, it follows a civil servant worker in Salt Lake City who falls in love with a recently separated woman who works in his office building. Filmed on location in Salt Lake City, it was released by United Artists in October 1979 under the alternate title Head Over Heels and promoted as a light-hearted romantic comedy, much to the disapproval of director Silver. However, did this chilly film come up any warmer with Royale Without Cheesers?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Very warmy.
Yes, one word, lovely.
Lovely. Yeah, it is lovely.
Sweet, lovely.
Very
No,
endearing romantic comedy with
I wouldn't
splashes
describe
of
it
irony.
that way. I wouldn't describe it that way. It's not.
What do you describe it
It's
that way?
lovely in the sense that it's a great film, but it's like also very. The portrayal of the main character is like one of the most honest portrayals of a guy in a romantic comedy.
Oh
like
yes,
the typical,
I agree completely with that.
in
Yeah.
a most like direct, in a cynical way. So
Yeah,
that's why I,
think,
wouldn't
I think
describe
it's lovely
it as
in its
lovely.
humor. That's what,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least that's what I
exactly,
tend
exactly.
to mean. Yeah.
Because when you say lovely about a romantic comedy like
No,
this,
the
then
guy
you
is
think
not
like, oh,
quite-
it's great, they're great together, I love them. It's like they
Let's
are.
be clear,
dates.
he is a suicide bomber, okay? And I don't agree with his policy.
The bad
So,
guy.
Yeah.
But there's redeeming qualities, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a piece of shit. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, he says, I'm gonna rape you, like, I'm gonna beat you up. It's not, it's like not even, but I do think like
Those were jokes.
Those were just jokes.
gotta
You know,
understand
gotta
the
understand. You know, a little joke about doing that. But I think like Joan includes those details about the character
Yeah.
very intelligently throughout the film.
Mm.
To it's not immediately from the get-go. You're like, oh, this guy sucks. He's horrible. It's more.
Wait, she doesn't do
gradually.
it very intelligently. That's what you mean?
No, I did very intelligently.
Ah, okay, yes.
Yeah. Very intelligent. Like it's not from the get-go. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm not on
yeah.
this guy's side. It's more gradually you understand. Come on, man, you're really stupid.
being
I mean,
weird.
from the beginning, you understand that his obsession with her is unhealthy, and from the beginning, like you understand that the way he approaches her, can go either way. You can either say, oh, okay, he's being like flirty and all that, but it's also inappropriate in the moment, and it's not sure
Yeah.
whether she's really into it or she's just like playing it safe. She doesn't want to create a confrontation there.
In the
But then
beginning,
gradually
when they meet?
Yeah, exactly. But then you also understand she is interested in him, and by the end, like she does like him, she loves him. Clearly, she has an interest in him. I think that's also the complication of the film. Like it's not just he's obsessed with her and she hates him and he's a stalker. There's that nuance of she does like him. Probably shouldn't, but she does.
I mean, yeah, but the poster says itself. I mean, Charles is a weird person.
Yeah. He is.
So, I mean,
We're told from the beginning.
yeah. So if you take that all in, I think it.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
kind of like I totally understand that he has quite questionable traits and he says quite questionable things. But I think what's so interesting about it, even when he says the questionable things, you're like, that's a.
He makes
I mean,
it sound.
What should I feel about? What should I feel about it? Even I am like Laura, like that was a.
That's
I don't
what
know
the
quite
film.
how to react.
Yeah, the
Because
film
she's-
puts the audience in the same position as her. It's like
It's not
he's
like
charming.
you can react like, "Oh my God, how dare you to make
Yeah.
a joke about rape?" It's kind of like you feel ambivalent about it. He says
I
it
mean,
with such a
no,
humor.
the rape one, I wouldn't go.
I mean, I feel
wouldn't say
ambivalent
that.
about it because I think that, of course, it is.
No, but I think
I
that's
would
just-
never say it. I'm not saying that that's normal, but I'm saying that the way that it's filmed, the way that the actor, I think there's a strange ambiguity about it. That's what I'm saying. Of
I mean,
course,
she
that it's not
leaves
okay.
immediately after. Like immediately after he
Leaves?
cut.
But they were
it-
having a fight, so
Yeah. I mean, but that's the end of the moment. When he says, "I'm gonna rape you," it cuts to her, having left and them talking about that.
But to me, that
Okay.
line seems like his version of "I'm really upset. I'm gonna go crazy on
Yeah,
you.
You know,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think he means
exactly.
it. I think he's being playful, but in the wrong way. Like you shouldn't say that anyway, of course.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
but
that's
hence
the
the
point.
ambivalence.
But
It's
that's
weird because
exactly.
it's playful, but at the same time you shouldn't say that because it's too much. Why would you say that in the
I
first
mean,
place?
it depends on what you
Yeah.
mean by ambivalence.
Right.
Yeah, no. I think it's
I'm not saying
very.
that rape is okay.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
that.
Tomas, what the hell are you saying?
What the hell are you
man?
saying, man? I don't think it's. I get what you mean in
I'm
the
just
sense
saying it's
that
the
the tone
first
of the
film
film.
where in the terms of the tone and the acting of the characters, in saying these very questionable lines, it is just interesting how they come up. You know, it's clearly in a humor that makes you feel like it makes you laugh about it. Strangely, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with
all
that.
the
But I
while,
don't.
you know, it's
But I think
reproachable.
it reveals about the character, and it
But it
shows that
reveals
he's
all the while it
he's a
reveals
horrible
about the
person.
character. Yes,
Like
yes.
the fact that even if it's just a joke and he's never gonna do it,
Yes,
like
yes,
the fact
yes,
that he
that's what I mean.
threatens her with that and says that to like establish something between them, like he's revealing of the way he sees her as an object of desire
Yes.
and as a possession, something that he
Yeah.
owns.
I'm just saying that in a lesser film, perhaps, that line we played has, I am going to rape you, and that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Or
the opposite
I don't know,
would be
just
just
be
a joke
completely
and
flippant and joke. But here it kind of lives in midway. That's what I felt.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
mean,
find interesting. And
I
consistently,
guess. But
and consistently,
for
the
me, it
character
was
has
much
this
more
irony that is very dry and questionable. And
Yeah, that's the thing. He's very, he has this sort of dry humor that is, for me, the much more divisive scene was the one where he jumps into bed and starts holding her, because that felt weird.
Yeah.
That felt
But
much
that
more
was-
out of character.
But that was before the rape joke, right? That's why I think the
Directly
rape
before.
I'm not sure.
a
Was
bit before, yeah.
Then he throws the ball,
Perhaps,
the eight
yeah.
ball in there, which is
Yeah.
which is the most interesting physical aggression that I've ever seen on screen after a rape line. It's so strange. Things can go even weirder with this guy, and you don't know what's the level of trust. He waits outside her house with her car, drinking. He's a weird dude. He's a weird dude.
I mean, yeah, he's effectively a stalker, essentially.
Yeah. On the other hand, she never quite establishes, she never gives him a yes or no and never quite establishes what is the nature of their relationship. What I find interesting is that
Apart from it, she incites him much.
yeah,
a lot.
and it's never like, and even there's a distinction between what her husband makes her feel and what he makes her feel. I mean, Charles, because when they are at the house, she generally laughs at her jokes, and I think that's quite the beginning where you kind of see the distinction between these two dudes who are like lukewarm dudes, because there's never something that she says or that Charles says that denigrates her husband. Her husband is never, oh, he's an abuser, oh, he's horrible because of it. There's never quite a reason. So you never quite understand for the longest time, why did you leave him? Why you are with Charles? What is happening with his husband? So the very first time you kind of have a sense of why he may be uninteresting to her is that Charles holds something of a charisma that her husband doesn't have. He's too straightforward, perhaps. Okay, now I start to get something of a light here of why she may prefer Charles, but at the same time, we understand why she not may prefer Charles, because it would never work. Charles is very obsessed, always with her, 24/7, he doesn't have anything else. And at the same time, really, that's what makes you pity him. It's part of one of the redeemable qualities, because he has so much going on in his life, with his mother being this like crazy, always seeking attention, with the stress that she had in her life. I think that his father, I don't know if his father died or something,
remember.
Charles' father, and now he has a stepfather. I read that somewhere. I didn't quite catch that on the film, really, but there's something that is behind her craziness, behind the line that he says, I think she prefers to go crazy because it's easier that way, because maybe there's some kind of trauma there that wasn't quite well explained, but yeah, there's certainly elements that make you feel empathetic towards him and pity him, and make you feel like this guy would be cool in a conversation, but I don't know for how long it would be.
But at the same time, he makes it out to be like he's got an even worse life than he actually has, because he has that scene where he's kind of venting with this chocolate guy, the blind guy, and he goes
That's
through
one
all
of my favorite scenes. One of my favorite scenes of repeating over the film.
And this scene, he goes through all his dramas of his life, I mean, one of them is like the fact that his stepfather wants him to go dancing or something.
Disco
That's not a
dancing. It's
problem.
like, who cares, man?
It's just one of those little stresses of life. I don't want to do this, so I'm going to spew about it. And he makes it out to be an even bigger problem then.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has that thing with the boss's son with the sexual
That's so
advice.
funny. That Chinese Joplin thing really helped. Do you have any more advice with these sexual arousal problems? So it's like,
Sorry.
he's not as hip as you think he is, you know? That's what he says. But I think John Hurt is quickly becoming one of my favorite actors of the 80s. I mean, this is a 79 film, but
Yeah.
you know, the other film I've seen from him is A Cutter's Way, and he's always has an unhinged edge to him,
Unhinged
you know, in his
Yes,
characters.
it's very charming.
Yeah.
He's very charming
Yeah, I
and
think
very interesting.
It's what
He's a quick
makes the
talker.
character work. Is the fact
Yeah.
that the actor brings a real charm to him. That makes it like if he was just bad, like from the get-go, and you just didn't relate
Yeah.
any like sort of human quality to him. He was just a stalker,
Yeah.
horrible person with
Because
no
it's
charm.
weird as it is, so you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
hold to the
balance
part
it.
which is
He's very good with humor, and he's very good with his spontaneity as an actor. You can see there's quite improvisation in what they are doing as actors, and there is a richness as well in the supporting actors. His friend that lives with him at the house, and how he riffs
he's
with
great.
him when they are at the house of the husband. It's a quite strange and odd character, who is unemployed and sells jackets.
Yeah.
you know.
Peter Reigert is the actor. He's really good.
You know,
He
yeah, I've seen
also
him in
shows
other
up in
movies.
another Joan Micklin Silver film, Crossing the Lands. He's like one of the main romantic interest. And John Hurt
Which
also
one?
shows up. Crossing the Landsea, which
No,
is
the
the actor is
character?
it's
Not the
Sam.
character.
Sam.
Ah, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam reminds me so much of like a Woody Allen character.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Allen
the
character.
film is like sort of in that vein.
Yeah.
Sort of a version of Annie
Uh-huh.
Hall, that is more like a bit more critical of the male character.
And like the romanticism of loving relationships, I think that he has in his head. I think it's an incredible film just from the standpoint as well of how it puts you in the point of view of his protagonist, and it plays with the idea of daydreaming in the office, at home, on the street, by the phone. And the cuts that they make through the reality and the daydreaming, it's just so seamless. You feel like you're entering the dream, and you don't even notice that you're entering the dream, which is really a reflection of the past, which is such a weird position. He's inviting this. He's going to her home that's completely empty. How they comment about the home being empty, while she's away from her husband, is very rich in humor and the banter between them. And then he makes this weird invitation of, "Oh, come to my house." There's nothing, implied in this request. I just want you to come there. There's a room aside, and she, how it evolves with just a simple idea of him gifting a chair to her that is my chair. No, you give this chair to me. It's in my apartment, so it's my chair. They're able to build upon very little mundane things in their dialogue that just makes it so very much rich and natural. That's the attraction in the film, and you can relate just the fact, with this sentiment of him of love and the spurring of a passion for somebody else. Because we've kind of all gone through it in a way. You start daydreaming about the person, and it doesn't stick and doesn't let go, and it just happens everywhere. The office, your home, and it just doesn't let go, and it can become, in a way, early passion, in an obsession. He lets it go too far off, in his way. But he's a very interesting character, and I like how the voiceover, in that sense of the passion and the obsessiveness of the passion, plays over whenever he meets the salesman, because the salesman always asks that objective question of, what do you have, what do you want, what do you want to buy, and he's always like, I want Laura. And it's a voice you hear in his head. Makes everything completely intimate in terms of the soundscape, together with the images that you see, the flashbacks of their past together, when for 2 months everything was fine away from the husband. So that has a running joke is interesting, I think. It has something of, the blind man is completely objective, but this guy who has eyes, is not objective at all. He's sunken up in what he feels about this woman and elevates her so much. That's something that happens, whether you're obsessive, or stalker level or not, passion does that to you. You elevate the person to a pedestal that she cannot, relate to you anymore sometimes. You're putting her or him in an impossible position. that it just becomes distressful and annoying. I think that's what becomes the end point of their relationship in a way.
Yeah, that blind man is interesting because you even can tell that that Charles didn't sleep at some point. When he comes to buy candy, it's like, how can he figure this out? And then he goes, "Oh yeah, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. I'm gonna go sleep."
Yeah,
And this blind guy is
knows he's up to something.
The wise man.
You compare the film, or reminded you of Woody Allen, both of you. To me, I don't know. I don't know why, but in a small way, I connected more with The Apartment just because of the idea of the work environment and the love affair that spurs from the work environment. I find that romantic comedies that happen in work environments and have that, play with between the work environment and daily life and love affairs in workplaces.
What's that film?
It's always
Office
very
Space?
interesting.
Office Space.
There's
That
that's
film?
more of
Office Space is a
straight up
90s
comedy.
film, right?
Yeah.
90s film. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one. I never seen bits and bits and pieces of it, but yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
That's
I've
very
seen
much
that.
an Office Space film. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow I like romantic comedies that go there. There's something about the workplace and these more intimate things happening in it. The contrast between the two that makes it interesting. And I love the scene where they first meet, and he immediately has a smile on his face the moment he sees her, and they're just kind of going around this filing cabinet, this huge filing cabinet. Where they just go up the stairs, and he has the nerve to come back and try to ask her out. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, that was my thought. Like, this is weird, and the fact that she's so nonchalant about it, like, oh, you're back. What? You're back. She just
Already?
came up, like up your back, and you're turning. She's in the.
It was
awkward
sad in her marriage, man.
It's sad, sure, you have cars, but it's just a position, he goes up the stairs, boom, like, what the fuck? It's the awkward position to be in, like, you turn around, you are up the stairs, and you have a guy there, it's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, it's so weird. It makes it all the more funny as well. And the fact that he disregards Betty, who is there for him, and she's always coming up with, what do you want for the hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres.
What do you want for the...
She was a bit the cliche character of the one that gets ignored.
Yeah.
But I think it's cliched, but because the
It's
film is
part
so
of
critical
what's-
of him, it
yeah,
makes
his
like the
defects.
cliche, it makes sense. Whereas in a normal
I
film,
mean, cliches make sense. I mean,
yeah. No, but I mean,
as long as you subvert them or
normally
you make them
these
interesting.
romantic comedies, you see it a lot. Like this character, the Betty character, would be played only for laughs, and you wouldn't even reflect about the fact that he's being so shitty to her. It's just like, oh, this annoying person is interested in him.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? But here it's more like, why? Like you don't respect her, man. You like
And it's
mistreat her
actively
so much.
something that he asked from her, or that this little party we're gonna make. He sees she's interested, and she's completely shooing her off.
like-
And whenever he asks her again, it's like shooing her off again and taking advantage of her to get back to Laura.
But
Like,
the
get it through your
scene
thick skull, man.
where she mentions that she had dinner with Laura, and suddenly you see the change in him. He's like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Always after her. At the
Laura,
same time, she's like she's a bit delusional. She's like, oh, he's a bit interested in me now. It's like, come on, girl, do better,
Yeah.
do better.
Pick it up. And she never eats. I'm glad about how she never picks up that he likes Laura. It's like, oh, you're interested in hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres.
It's like, yeah.
But she has a happy ending with Sam, Betty. I
Yeah,
mean, they're
yeah,
good.
better off.
Yeah, but I mean,
better
that's,
guy. He's a
that's
better
not gonna work.
Yeah,
He's
probably
gonna
not.
probably will. I mean, she's like delusional enough, and he's like unemployed and a loser. I think it'll work out.
It's a good match,
Okay,
right?
yeah, within the chaos of those two people. I
Uh-huh.
guess.
Yeah, exactly. I think they'll make it work. They're still together to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Laura and
Charles.
Charles are
Charles.
not. What did you think of the way it ends? The running and then just
Right.
ends.
I mean, now that I think about it, because I mean, when I was watching the film, I didn't really get this much sense of his weirdness. But now that we're talking about it, and yeah, he goes through his house, he's stalking her, he does that thing.
Reminded me of Varda's film Le Bonheur in the sense.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
I'm rewatching it in my head, and clearly, yeah, he's got something going, which is a bit much. And so it kind of makes sense for me that the film ends with him doing something goofy again, but especially the fact that they don't end up together.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think the film ends quite nicely.
Yeah,
It
and
makes
if
sense
they
to me.
ended up together, it would be too much of a gift wrapping, giving and kind of satisfying the protagonist. But the thing is, what I find most interesting is that yet again she doesn't give a response, and at least he has the bravery to say, "Okay, this is over." And this weirdly so, I think this is part of one of the redeeming ends of the characters. That at least he has some consciousness of when it's over, even despite she doesn't give the clear answer. And so him running aimlessly outside, it's just how the character is, I think he says a beautiful line that, has it gone past? Yes. Is it over? Yes, but it still hurts, I mean, there's, he's not, there's difficult aspects to his character. There's questionable things to him, but at the same time, you do get the humanity behind him, and he's not the worst of people, I think, he has some empathizing qualities, and him running aimlessly
It
is that
almost
thing.
make it
Will he
seem
ever
like he's
find
running
love? Will he
towards
ever
her again.
find?
I don't know. In the very beginning of that scene with the running, it almost seems like he's going back to her, but then
Yeah,
as the scene
that's an
progresses,
interesting take. That's an
you kind of
interesting
realize
take.
that it's not
Yeah,
doing it, that
yeah,
he's doing
yeah,
something
yeah, yeah.
else. But it's
Yeah,
interesting that duality.
he's in this constant limbo of will he ever kind of spur something new in his life beyond what he has. He's constantly. I get it that it's a burden to have this mother that's so complicated, this stepfather you don't relate to, and then he feels an emptiness in his life, and he wants to find someone that can feel that. He just he's doing it in the wrong sort of ways, and that's how the film ends. With that question of will he ever. Yeah, and I think he's one of the most interesting characters I've ever seen in a comedy and otherwise. Regarding his defects, the way his defects are portrayed and how they come up is not clean. You feel, in his jokes, in his humor, that is difficult because you laugh at them and you can think, maybe I should take this as a joke, but maybe I shouldn't take this as a joke. So there's, in that sense, there's that ambivalence where deep down you see there's something wrong and you understand why she gets away from him. But at the same time, there's that opening for, it's humor, but there's a grayish zone as I never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Regarding such harsh lines as rape and beating you up.
No, and that gray zone also in terms of whether you root for him or not, or for them together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of strange how you navigate between these as a viewer, just wanting them or not together. It's interesting,
Yes.
I think. And the fact that the film ends the way it does kind of makes you appreciate that Joan kind of knew what she was doing. That everything was kind of thought out very carefully, and ultimately it was a very nice, well-told script, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
It would make sense, I think.
I think
the film ending another way.
Yeah, I think in that, like in what you were speaking, like I like both characters in this. Like obviously, the Charles not a good person, but I mean, there's lots of bad people that can be better and can improve, and he's not like so much of a horrible human being that I think he's irredeemable. I think the central question is that I want the best for both of them throughout the film, and I think that together it won't work out, and that's what makes the film interesting. Is that you want the characters to be happy, but he wants to be with her, and she even wants kind of to be with him, but they shouldn't, and clearly it won't work out.
There's just this huge miscommunication or lack of it that should have gone, in the very beginning of the situation, because he doesn't really say yes or no. And precisely because there is that liking that she still kind of clings on to him even after she returns to the husband, because she didn't leave him again, and that opens another possibility for the poor guy. And then it's interesting. In
the original ending of the ending that the studio put, they ended up together. That was the mistake. Obviously, it's what Miguel was saying. Yeah, that's what Miguel was saying. Like the film, like the way it's built, it needs to end the way it ends now. Although I don't absolutely love the ending, I feel like it could be stronger. That could be a better way, I don't know, to wrap it up. But it makes more sense than them ending up together, because then everything we saw, it sort of gets reinforced instead of criticized, which I think is the point that the director...
Would you rather end with some kind of sense of hope to him?
I think it ends with enough hope for him. And like the running is like a physical act, running forward. He stops, so there's that ambiguity of Is he's gonna keep moving
I feel
forward or
pessimism,
not?
but I find
it's a bit,
interesting that you feel hope.
I don't know. I feel both. I think it's ambiguous. That's the point. It's like to not be sure, because clearly, yeah, he's still obsessed with her. I don't know. Like when he says, "I'm gonna leave. I'm leaving now," where he's supposedly it's more of a statement. He's taking a firm position. Finally, I don't really buy it. It's like you're still gonna be obsessed with her. It feels to me because of what we saw with the character.
Especially because on her side, it seems like things are open too. I mean, it's not like she has a definitive situation, and
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. Whereas when she was married
constantly.
or back together with her husband, he never gave up. So it feels like now he wouldn't give up for sure. Now that's it's much more possible. But yeah, that's interesting. It's a great character, like to think about. Very fascinating. And it's like, again, the reason he works as a character is because he's believable. It's like he's not a great person. He's a bad guy, like misogynist. Clearly, he has a lot of problems with women that stem from his mother. I think that's like sort of what the film is getting at. But it's sort of, at the same time, you're like, these people exist. Like guys like this exist. Like the fact that she's reflecting about a character in a film like this, like a romantic comedy, it's great, because usually these comedies reinforce these types of behaviors instead of reflecting about them and criticizing them and thinking like why.
And it's a female director on a male protagonist, which I find also interesting. I think he portrays that type very well. I think she doesn't shy away from giving him redeemable qualities and things that make you latch onto him and think, well, this would be interesting to have a conversation with this guy, but at the same time question him. Yeah.
And the same thing with her, I think. I mean, she's not a simple person.
Yeah, exactly. She's complicated too.
A clear mind.
Yeah. And I find very interesting the relationship he has with his stepfather. He has these little scenes, these little moments that feel so spontaneous and out of the blue. You do not expect how this will fit in the story. But she gives such a gravitas with these moments that I find that they are two lost souls as men in a way. But one is more organized than the other. Like the stepfather finds some happiness in his loony way with his loony other person, while he's completely Charles. He can't seem to, let's say, lighten up or ease up. He's always, he needs to be this way. I need to get this woman.
And I think more than that, it's just almost his inability not to love someone without it being an obsession, which is kind of an interesting idea. But it's like, I mean, you don't know for sure, but it seems like the film kind of tells you that is this person, and kind of makes you wonder how he's going to find someone else without developing a really strong obsession. Because if he did this with someone that was married, I mean, there's no stopping Charles.
There's no stopping Charles, yeah.
Unstoppable.
We could make a thriller trailer out of this. He is unstoppable. He's unstoppable force. He's out to get you, Charles. In chilly scenes of winter.
Chilly.
Coming next fall.
The fall?
Get
no,
ready
in the winter.
For the chill.
It's in the winter.
The winter. That's
gotta release it in the winter, man.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would be a trilogy: the chilly scenes of autumn, the chilly scenes of fall.
Yeah, of course.
That's like a Homer thing. Eric Homer.
Oh yeah. Season to season, and every three will be like, "Sir, he's out at it again." Oh my God.
Charles Unleashed.
Charles Unleashed.
This time she wants him. The stalker gets stalked.
The stalk gets stalked.
Any final ideas, thoughts?
I think that's pretty much it.
Was this the only film you saw from Joan?
This was the only film. Yeah, actually, didn't have much time this week.
I recommend other films.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a lot, but yeah, pretty good. She did a lot of Lifetime films. Yeah. In 2020, I think. I mean, she lived long life.
Pretty long.
Yeah. And sadly, John Hurt as well in 2017.
Oh yeah, he died in 2017. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, he was a good actor.
I saw some of his. Yeah, and he kind of resembled Ray Liotta in his later years. I don't know if you noticed.
I always confuse him with another actor that is an Irish actor that plays the protagonist in Barry Lyndon. Well, Barry Lyndon. He has a very similar face.
I don't even know who the actor is.
I don't remember his name, but if you put the two together, it's like, oh my god, their faces like, oh.
Charles, what?
Charles,
It's the
whoa.
same guy.
But John Hurt, I think it's a pity that he's not that much known because I think he's a great actor.
He's very good. Very good.
I was really surprised by his acting. I mean,
if you watch Cutter's Way with Jeff Bridges,
never
he's
did.
very entertaining, very captivating. He's this guy with an eye patch. He's a veteran from Vietnam. He walks with a walkie stick, and he's always drunk and trying to solve a crime of a girl who died. And there's probably suspicion from this great kind of entrepreneur guy, and he's onto him, and has these imaginings of the plot. And Jeff Bridges, his friend, has him at home, and he's insisting, don't do this. He's always like, I'm gonna fire him.
By the way, Ryan O'Neal is the actor.
Ryan O'Neal.
Ireland.
Is he
Ryan O'Neal
well known, or is he just a guy that Kubrick found as usual?
It kind of seems like it.
He has done other things. Do you know that meme of that terrible film where he says, "Oh God, oh man, oh man, oh God, oh man"?
Isn't that Gremlins
that's him,
2?
I think.
That's him.
Yeah, I think so.
No way. That film is from
Go
the
see
90s.
Ryan O'Neal. Oh God, oh man. I think it's him.
But that's a kid saying it.
What? No. No. You're confusing with that film of the goblins where the guy says, "Oh my God!" It's not the same thing.
Okay. So what's
the
so
other
my
one,
oh
he's
man?
at the beach. Oh God, oh man.
Got an ad. Gotta wait for the ad.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! In the spinning camera.
Come on.
That's the best part. Spinning.
The spinning. Oh God, oh man.
Oh man.
That's so stupid. So bad. The director said, I have a vision for this.
Oh God, oh man.
But that's the thing, he had a very specific vision.
I mean,
you can tell there's a very strong intention there.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not unpurposeful.
No.
There is purpose.
Now, was it supposed to be funny, stupid, or I don't know?
Probably.
But that's always better when they have, even if dumb, they have an intention.
At least it's not dumb and dull.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Tommy Wiseau must have directed this. You're gonna say, "Oh God, oh man."
Oh God, oh man.
Nah, this is too advanced for.
Too advanced for Tommy Wiseau. I've watched. We're completely far off.
Let's go. I mean, we need these detours on the episodes.
I've watched a little critic of The Room the other day. I was laughing my ass off because I remember so many moments of The Room. They were ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm fed up with this world.
The problem is that now they lean too much into it, like Tommy Wiseau and the other guy, Greg something. Like they're too much in on the joke. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, they just admit it's a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's
you
didn't mean it that way. You're ruining you're ruining the vibe. You're ruining things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Greg says it was serious. Tommy Wiseau is more like, oh, now I'm gonna try to be funny and to be like in on the joke.
I think that's his way, probably. I'm guessing, of dealing with.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
With the criticism, in a healthy way. Like, I'll think this is comedy, fine. Because if he takes it too hard, he's just gonna wreck himself, thinking I'm so bad. So I kind of get it.
He is though.
He is very bad.
He is though.
But like,
let's not make him think that.
But the thing is, he can just be an ordinary person doing another job. Why does he need to be an actor? I mean, you don't need to be an actor.
No,
go do something else.
He's clearly.
I would be a better actor as well.
He's clearly very in love with that thing. He's very passionate about acting. He wants to do it, and he's so delusional that he doesn't see. He's not gonna get any better.
The thing is that, like, if he kept just trying to be serious and make serious art, he would be more successful because he would make something, again, very bad that people would find funny because he's earnestly trying and failing, and that's what's funny.
But has he tried anything but that?
I think now he's trying to make like comedies, like films that are intentionally bad and funny.
The one who was Best Fiends or Best Friends, but that one was like...
That's like a buddy comedy with Greg or something. It just doesn't work. Like, that's not what made The Room work, is the fact that it's serious.
According to what I know about the plot, he's made to be a weird character.
Yeah.
There's an awareness about his weirdness, so they made it fit with the character that he has. Which may work as you will. You may look at it as, okay, now he works in a context, but at the same time you don't have the same vibe or mojo as it would be with The Room,
Like
where
his
it is
latest film is called Big Shark.
Big Shark.
It's a horror
Mm.
horror film. I have no. I'd have to watch it. But my initial, just from first time I'm encountering it, I'm assuming it's like a Sharknado type of thing, and it's intentionally bad.
Right.
Like if that's the thing, it's just not gonna work, man.
Yeah, because it works even better when it's not an intentional bad. It's like when you try to get serious.
That's the way
Oh
we
my
like
God.
it. We like to see people try and fail. That's like the human condition. We find failure funnier than purpose failure.
He actually says on the poster, the creator of the room, like.
Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah,
if
that's the
you're
thing,
advertising,
I guess. I guess.
it's popular, so you gotta.
Yeah, it comes to a point where I think there must be an even worse film than The Room. I don't know.
I mean, there are plenty of bad films. Yeah. Like The Room is entertaining.
Yeah,
there are films
that's the
that
thing.
are
I don't
not
even.
entertaining.
The Room is entertainingly bad because you can
That's
have
the
bad
thing.
movies and they're not even entertaining.
I mean, it's more. I prefer it to a boring, completely
B-movie bad up to date.
Yeah, I mean, depends. Like depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A FoxLife movie.
Yeah.
For example.
I mean, there are FoxLife movies, like even films that I like that a lot of people wouldn't care about, but like these comedies, bad romantic comedies or romances that sometimes I put on. Even then, there are sometimes it's just like it's not so badly made that it's funny. It's just reverse shot of everything, every line.
Yeah,
just super bland. It's not even funny.
Sorry.
It's just
and then
bad.
the music like every time, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, just stop this shit, motherfucker.
Doesn't work.
I cannot stand. Every time I catch my mom saying that, I'm like, oh my God.
The thing is, those films are all the same, pretty much.
Yeah,
have the same fucking
and then when it comes Christmas, it's like all hell breaks loose. Let's let all of them out. All the Christmas movies.
Don't. Those are
don't you like those?
Those are fish.
Get cozy.
Those are nice.
Jesus Christ, I can't.
No, some of those are cool. You gotta enjoy them. The businesswoman who needs to cool down, man. She's taking things too seriously.
Well, I guess.
But there's this cute guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, I own a ranch, man. I want to ride my horse, and she rides the horse, and she reconnects with nature. And suddenly,
oh my God, you really know this deep.
And now there's a problem. There's a serious moment where she must pick between the company and the business because there's a big event coming up, or between the man and the nature and her hometown. And of course, by the end, she's riding the horse.
Riding the horse. No pun intended.
And the guy.
And the guy
as well.
And then it's
on top of the horse.
On top of the horse.
Whoa. That would be challenging. Hey there.
Challenging.
Whoa.
That is the last line. Whoa, that's challenging, but I'll do it. I'm ready for the discoveries. That's all for today, folks. If you'd like to reach out and suggest a film for the next episode, you can find us on the podcast official Instagram and Facebook pages. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, or simply give us a like. That's how our podcast can grow ever more groovy. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
See ya.
And bye-bye.